Would like to start with our traditional way.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you very much. So, welcome all. Andrew will start reading the first verse for today.
What are the five sheaths? They are Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya.
So, as you see, we have a detailed explanation and analysis of mechanisms for what we call the humans. So, our true nature can be found, our true self, when we know and we have discovered what we are not. So, as I said earlier, it is a method from Advaita Vedanta when we are doing negations of what we are not, and gradually we can arrive to the conclusion of what we are really as an impersonal consciousness awareness Brahman. So Andrew, can you continue? Because I don't see here there is a need of further comments. So continue reading.
That which is born from the essence of food grows by the essence of food and merges into the earth, which is of the nature of food, is called the food sheath or the gross body. What is pranamaya kosa? The five physiological functions like prana, etc., and the five organs of action like speech, etc., together form the vital air sheath. What is manomaya kosa? The mind and the five sense organs of perception together form the mental sheath. What is Vijnamaya? The intellect and the five sense organs of perception together is the intellectual sheath. It is subtler than and pervades the former three sheaths. It controls the other three. It constitutes the intellect and the five sense organs or perception. The five senses are common to both the mental and intellectual sheaths, as perception involves both the mind and the intellect.
So, as you see, all these functions, all these mechanisms are referring to, in Tattva Bodhah, as different bodies. It's not actually bodies. You cannot take a microscope, let's say, or another technological instrument and find those bodies in a human being. No, they do not exist really as bodies. It's it is just an expression. There are no bodies. There are no different entities or compartments in the human being. It is only for the for pedagogical reasons to study these functions and it ourselves. When in reality, our true self, our true nature is only consciousness, awareness, Brahman. But because we cannot see that, we need to go through different methods until we are ready to see that. And one of these methods is the method of neti, which means not this, not this, not this. Like I'm not this, I'm not that. And finally, what am I? And then we can arrive to the real conclusion, the real self with capital S. Do we have any questions until now from the today verses and also from the previous Satsanga that we had? That somebody wish to also ask, but also to comment or to clarify something, please feel free to do so. Then we can continue. Please, Andrew, continue reading.
What is Anandamaya Kosa? Established in ignorance, which is of the form of the causal body, of impure nature, united with thoughts like Priya, etc., is the bliss sheath. These are the 5 sheaths.
Yes, this is also another function, and it is the most difficult body in inverted commas to identify with, and it is the most difficult to understand its function, its mechanism. But in reality, all these bodies, all these functions or mechanisms are just hiding, or a better word is veiling, our true nature as infinite impersonal consciousness, awareness, Brahman. We need to unveil these misconceptions that we keep holding for ourselves. In reality, it is something like, we could say, like the mirrors in a circus. You know, some mirrors in circus where you exportive looking of yourself. Like you stand in front of these mirrors and you can see your body more fat or more thin or different kinds of distortions. So these bodies actually are functioning like that. We have the same consciousness, which is from different standpoints. It appears as different mechanisms and functions. But in reality, we cannot see our true nature, our true self. First of all, consciousness, awareness, Brahman, cannot be an object of watching, because it is the watcher. So it is the seer. It cannot see itself. It is seeing. So the seeing cannot see itself because, first of all, it does not have a form. It does not have any characteristics. It does not have an age. It is not a human being. It is not something, a thing. It is not even a subject. When we call it in some cases a subject consciousness, it is again only for pedagogical reasons, because you cannot call it even the subject with capital S. Why is that? Because it is beyond any concept. It is beyond any forms. It is beyond space and time. But through the veiling of the functions, of the mechanisms of these pancha kosas, we can understand how it functions in this empirical world, which is called Vyavaharika, empirical dream, lower level of reality. So in this dream, in this empirical world, we conceive ourselves as these distortions of our true nature. Like we have been, as I said earlier, in a circus, and we put our body in front of these mirrors. Then in the circus, of course, there is a lot of fun, and you can enjoy to play with these mirrors. But in this dream reality, these distortions of our true nature, it is not at all fun. It is not at all enjoyment. Why? Because it brings suffering, it brings misery, it brings lack of security, insecurity. Because you believe, you see this body, this physical body, let's say this gross body, and you believe that you are this body. You feel the Anamaya Kosa, that is yourself. Then you feel the Pranamaya Kosa, the energy body, and you believe that it is yourself. Then you feel the mind, mental body, which is connected with emotions, and you feel and you believe that you are this body, Anamaya Kosa, or and the source and the power have as an intelligent being, and you identify again with this intelligence. Then you are experiencing some kind of bliss or joy, and immediately you believe that it is this what you are, the Ananda Maya Kosa. But you are not anything of these distortions. You are what is working these functions, these bodies. It is this substratum, this screen of consciousness, where all these bodies and functions do appear and disappear. Yes, Andrew, can you continue?
Just as bangles, earrings, house, etc., known as mine, are all other than the knower, me, so too the 5 sheaths, etc., are known by the self as my body, my pranas, my mind, my intellect, and my knowledge, and are therefore not the self. Then what is the self? It is of the nature of existence, consciousness, bliss. What is existence? That which remains unchanged in the 3 periods of time, past, present, and future, is existence. What is consciousness? It is of the nature of absolute knowledge. What is bliss? It is of the nature of absolute happiness.
Yes, we see that in this verse we are beginning to understand what is our true nature, our true self. It is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat, infinite truth and beingness. Chit, infinite impersonal consciousness, awareness. And Ananda, infinite impersonal bliss, happiness, and peace. This is our true self, our true nature. And it is covered non-stop. It is always under the veiling of these functions of these bodies. So Tattva Bodhah is trying to help us to identify and to discover our real nature as Brahman, as Satchitananda, and unveil our true nature. This consciousness, awareness, when it knows itself, when it is not veiled by these functions, by these mechanisms, it does not have any problems. It does not have any needs. It is fulfillment itself. And it is impersonal beingness. This beingness is without any divisions. It cannot be cut in pieces. It cannot be like a puzzle, where you put one piece of the puzzle in another body, and in another body, and in another, and so on and so forth. Or you put a puzzle in a plant, or a flower, or a star, or an animal. No, the beingness cannot be in division, in any kind of division. So there are no different beings. There are no beings in reality. There is only beingness. And this beingness appears as different beings. We may see an elephant, we may see a flower, we may see a human being, and we believe that these three beings are different. But in reality, there is only the same beingness appearing as different forms. The same with consciousness, awareness. It seems that consciousness is different in the speaker and the one who is listening now. It seems that this consciousness is somehow put in or imprisoned in somebody's body, or in the skull, or in the brain and the nervous system, and so on and so forth. But that is a lie. Consciousness don't appears as different parts, as divisions. It cannot be split. It cannot be split into different consciousnesses, or awarenesses, or presences. It is one, and that's all. It cannot be many. And this consciousness, awareness, presence is not at all a property of the human being, or the brain, or the nervous system. On the contrary, consciousness, awareness, presence, Brahman, have as property this dream of beings of the universe and all the apparent objects. So it is vice versa, the contrary from what we have been taught in the school. What is the general belief and the belief system that is also the training in the schools? That somehow the universe appeared out of a Big Bang, an explosion. From this Big Bang, gradually appeared stars and planets, and gradually in our planets have been developed life. and from this life, many beings, and from these beings, the human beings, and from a male and female appeared a baby, and from this baby, gradually there is a development of a nervous system and a brain, and finally, from this brain and this nervous system, we have the appearance of consciousness in this being, so-called human being. But this is a big lie, because consciousness cannot be property of the brain or of the human being. Consciousness is dreaming human beings and any kind of beings. Consciousness has this dream of an apparent universe, Jagat, apparent Jivatma, soul, and even Ishvara, God, the creator, also is part of the dream of consciousness. So the same also with bliss, happiness, peace. It is not something that you can have or you can attain by attracting something that you like to attract, or by buying something, or by accumulating wealth, or by starting a new relationship, or by becoming somebody, in inverted commas. But happiness, bliss, and peace is your inherent, ever-present, but veiled through nature, through self. And that is the purpose of the Sastram, the purpose of Sanatana Dharma, and in particular, the purpose of Advaita Vedanta is to help you, to lead you to this great discovery that I was never a human being, I was never an individual, I was never a Jivatma, a soul, an ego, a person, but always, ever, 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 I am this infinite, impersonal consciousness, awareness, Brahman. Any questions or clarifications that you need for now?
Yes. Hello, Guruji. This is Vasilis. I have two questions. The first question is, why does consciousness, I don't know if it is the right question, why does consciousness manifest as a human being? Does it manifest because it likes to play through this life, to observe, or because everything, all the power comes out of consciousness, if I'm correct? Is this what consciousness does? It manifests through forms and appearances.
Well, consciousness is not manifesting itself as anything at all. Consciousness is only dreaming. There is only the dream of universe, the dream of individual beings, the dream of apparent objects. So in itself, it is a kind of a dream. It is a kind of a magical soul. It has never been manifested as the universe or as a being or as objects. But it appears so from the point of view, from the standpoint of the so-called individual who is asking. The one who is asking, in the first place, do not exist as an individual being. It is only a function. It is only thinking process. And this thinking process, for example, is disappearing in the deep sleep without dreams. So, The one who is asking now this question, in the deep sleep without dream, it completely disappears. And in the deep sleep, there is no also universe, there is no also apparent objects or others or anything at all. Nevertheless, something there in inverted commas has the power to accommodate even nothingness, even blankness, even this voidness. And also, at the same moment, it is able to watch that, to be able to, it is able even to see that and to reveal this voidness, this nothingness, this blankness. That's why in the morning, you can recall, you can recollect this phenomenon. You may say to your relatives or to somebody, I was sleeping wonderful, I was not thinking anything at all, it was a fantastic deep sleep. So what was there is what we call in Advaita Vedanta Turiyam, which is the fourth state and the real state of consciousness. While the first three states of consciousness, they are called the so-called waking state, where we are perceiving the so-called external world. Then there is a dream state where we stop perceiving the so-called external world and we are projecting our own individual world and universe and events. Then there is a deep sleep without dreams. And as I said before, there is the fourth state, Turiyam, which is our true nature. Furthermore, consciousness don't have anything at all to win or to attain in accordance with your question, why consciousness is doing this so-called appearance. Consciousness don't have anything to attain, it is fulfillment itself, although in itself there is a great power, a projective power. This power is called from the Sastram, in the Sastram, in the scriptures, it is called Maya. It is a magnificent and mysterious and magical power of consciousness, which has the ability to project in itself as consciousness, infinite universes, infinite apparent beings, and infinite apparent objects. But all this is nothing more than a dream. There is no inherent reality in the apparent universe, the apparent beings, the apparent objects. They are borrowing their existence, their appearing existence, their apparent existence through consciousness, from consciousness. Just like when you are dreaming in the night, in the dream, if you are watching, let's say, a garden or a forest, the forest is not really there. The forest is only a thought appearing in your consciousness. Although the forest appearing real and you may walk in this forest, enjoy this forest, but the forest is borrowing its apparent existence through you, from you, consciousness. That's why, upon waking up in the morning, you realize that there is no universe in your room. There is no anybody who was walking in a forest. It was only a dream. Yes, but while you was in the dream experience, Your walking in the forest was great. You were enjoying this your walking in the forest. It was appearing very real. It was joyful. While you were in this dream, it was appearing a fantastic, a great experience, a real experience. But these phenomena, these attributes of the dream, utility, that there is a kind of utility in the dream. If you are hungry and you eat something, a dream food, your hunger will stop. There is transactability. You are in transactions with so-called other beings in your dream. And there is also experienceability. You are really experiencing things in your dream. So these three attributes of the dream state, they do appear also in what we call the waking state. But that doesn't mean that the universe really exists because of these three attributes, three characteristics of what we call life. Furthermore, consciousness cannot have a goal, an aim, because that's what would mean. It would mean that consciousness, first of all, is not fulfilled in itself. It would mean that there is space and time, which there is not. It is a lie, space and time. And also, it would mean that consciousness is not perfect in itself, and it needs something to accomplish or something to learn in order to be satisfied, in order to be fulfilled. So this is not the truth. Consciousness is beyond any needs. Consciousness is beyond any aims. It is fulfillment itself. Whatever appears as an apparent universe, apparent beings, and apparent objects, it is just due to the projective power of Maya. It is only a projection. It is only a dream. It is only a magical soul. It is called the magical soul that lasts 3 to 5 days, as Astavakra Jnani said to Janaka in the Astavakra Gita. There is this voidness in the empirical world. Everything is empty. Everything is void. You may study if you want and if you are ready the 35th chapter of Ribu Gita, where it is this teaching about the voidness of the empirical world. Although I don't recommend somebody to study this, one of the most profound sastram in Advaita Vedanta, which is Ribu Gita. So even my Guruji, he don't do a course or a Satsanga about Ribu Gita or another profound text called Avadhuta Gita. He did Satsanga only for Astavakra Gita, but he suggests that this Satsanga is beneficial only for those who are completely mature enough spiritually, and they have did a very long study in Advaita Vedanta under a competent guru. And he puts Astavakra Gita in the end of the third level. So we will come again and again in this topic of the reality of the universe, the apparent beings, the apparent objects. And it is one of the most profound topics in Advaita Vedanta, and one of the most difficult essence. The essence of this topic is the most difficult to grasp or to swallow. Why? Because after millions of years, apparent millions of lifetimes, it is very difficult to see the truth that you have never been an individual, that this universe is a dream, and that this universe and the beings and the objects is completely void, empty, sunyatam. So Buddha was perhaps one of the few ones who had the courage to give teachings about the voidness of the apparent universe, apparent beings, apparent objects. But even in our days, the text, the holy sastram about emptiness, like the Heart Sutra and the Diamond Sutra, are those for those few who are ready to grasp, who are ready to swallow. So I also recommend somebody to study when he feels mature enough and ready enough the Heart Sutra and the Diamond Sutra of Buddha. But again, with a competent guru, not alone. Why not alone? Because it will be, instead of beneficial, it will be very bad, and it will create a huge confusion. So the profound scriptures, the profound sastrams are only to be studied only under the security and the competency of a guru, a real guru, who, of course, who is belonging and who is representing a holy, authentic tradition. So I have opened and elaborate more this topic because it is of major importance. But if you like to elaborate even more, you can ask me. You can say.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for taking so much time from the satsang. I fully understand that sometimes you should be guided by a guru when reading, and at this point I've listened many times and read the Astavakra Gita, and almost everything I read in there makes sense. I can understand it. I can, not intellectually. I mean, I accept it. I haven't read the other chapters of the Gita you are referring to. So if Maya is that, let's say, part of consciousness that is the veil of appearances, correct me if I'm wrong, the human form is a part of it. It's an appearance. It's a very delicate matter, and sometimes disciples, as you said, if if they don't comprehend it correctly, they either I don't know, they may act irresponsibly sometimes, or feel that life doesn't matter or anything like that, which is not true. There must be a balance for the disciple on how to comprehend that, understand that he's not a part of consciousness. He is part of consciousness. It is a matter of unveiling the truth. And how, from the perspective of the disciple, how do you encounter this? How do you make a balance of it? Do you have to do spiritual work? I know it is a vague question, but how do you identify with consciousness? That's the question. With the truth.
It is a combination of different spiritual tools, in inverted commas, of course, and you need to follow the instructions of the holy lineage, the authentic spiritual lineage, and the prescriptions. And these tools are to do, first of all, sravanam, which means a constant and long-term study, listening, and under the proximity of a competent guru to study the scriptures, the Satsanga. Then there is the need of mananam, which means, as you do right now, to clarify your doubts, to ask questions from the guru, and finally to do what we call in Advaita Vedanta nididhyasanam, which means the Vedantic meditation, which means that after you have done a systematic, I repeat, a systematic and with methodology, very long-term study of the Shastram, under the competency of a real guru who is belonging to a real authentic tradition, then you need to clarify all your doubts. You need to completely understand and feel and see the truth of these teachings by using nididhyasanam Vedantic meditation. So, at the same time, you have to lead a spiritual lifestyle with morality. You have to do karma yoga, which means serving your family, for example, serving the society, protecting the nature, the environment, protecting the animals, protecting the entire planet. Then you need to do constantly self-observance and constantly atma vichara, which means a constant research, inquiry to what it is, what you call myself. Constantly trying to see what I call myself. What is this? What is this self that I call myself? What is the nature of this self? At the same moment, you have to be sincere. You have to do what we call a control to the ego, a control to the sense gratification. You have to do what we call in Advaita Vedanta Citta Shuddhi, which means purification of the mind, through all these practices, through a spiritual lifestyle and morality and service to humanity and to the entire universe. Then, if you will follow all these instructions, then it is a guarantee that sooner or later you will be able to see and to feel and to really have a profound understanding without any doubt that yes, what I am, what I call myself, is infinite, impersonal consciousness, awareness, Brahman. I have never been an individual. I have never been a soul, an ego, a person. I have always been of the nature of Satchitananda. But this is in accordance with your previous sadhana, your previous spiritual practice. Others may need 1 second to see the truth, if they are ready enough from previous dream lifetimes with a lot of preparation, spiritual preparation. Others, they may need 1 year, others 10 years, others 50 years, 60 years, 2 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, 1 million lifetimes. It depends on the level of your spiritual maturity. So you continue following the instructions of the Guru Parampara, the Holy Tradition, and it is guaranteed, it is a guarantee from the scriptures, from the Shastra, that sooner or later you will end up recognizing permanently and having a permanent conviction of your true nature, of your true self. But everything of what I have mentioned are indispensable. You cannot expect that you will remove one of these ingredients, in inverted commas, of the formula and respect and being expecting that you will see the truth. So all of these tools are indispensable. But it needs, of course, patience. It needs sraddha, which means in the scriptures, faith and trust to the Guru Parampara, to the authentic and beginningless Holy Tradition. And it needs your spiritual effort. It needs an effort. It does not appear the unveiling of your true nature without a spiritual effort. Whether this effort is meditation, whether it is listening to the scriptures, whether it's coming the right time to the Satsanga, avoiding to go to the bar or to the, I don't know, to a club or whatever. Not that this is always bad, but the moment that you choose your liberation and not your sense gratification, it is already a huge step. Then it needs only patience and sraddha, faith and trust. And sooner or later, you will see the truth. You will see, of course, in inverted commas, because you don't see something, but in lack of better word, we say seeing the truth, seeing and understanding profoundly what you really are, what you have always been. But of course, it's not something easy. You are always that. You are always infinite, pure consciousness, awareness, Brahman. But you keep not noticing it. And what is the solution? To have a guru to remind you the truth, to have sastram to remind you the truth, to have the holy Guru Parampara to remind you the truth, to have a spiritual lifestyle to remind you the truth, and so on and so forth. There is no other solution. Otherwise, if you will not follow the instructions, all of them, without letting one of them out, if you do follow all the instructions, it is certain that you will end up discovering your true nature, your true self. I don't know if you would like something more.
No, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Anybody else? So, since there is no another question or clarification, we can do now a guided meditation. Since already, as I see, it is 4 minutes before 7. So close your eyes, find a comfortable posture. All the rest, please close your microphone for the clear audio of the recording. Try to have your spine erect, but without any kind of tension. Close your eyes like you want to go asleep. Become aware of the breathing process. Let any thoughts do appear and disappear without grasping on them. Let them do appear and disappear. You may notice them, but do not give them the importance that they are seeking. Ignore them. If you see that you are in attachment with the thoughts, the moment you are aware of this attachment, just let them go and come back in this awareness of the breathing process. Do not try to modify your breathing. Let the breathing be normal. Only keep breathing through your nostrils. Keep your mouth closed. You can go with awareness into the details of the breathing, such as the flow of air in the nostrils, the movement of the belly and the chest, give special importance in the intervals when there is no inhalation or exhalation. Try to notice them more. this kind of a pause before inhalation or exhalation. Become aware of any noises or sounds in your room or even in the neighborhood. Or even sounds from this speaking. For example, sometimes there is a sound of the air condition or a watch or even a sound in your belly. Become aware even of the sound of your computer. Now become aware of your pelvic area and the point of touch where you are sitting. Become aware of this sense of solidity in your pelvic area, in your sitting. Become aware of the small movements of your eyelids when they do appear and disappear by themselves. Now ask yourself, what is aware of all these things? What is really the nature of these awareness principles? What is aware that is existing? What is aware of this listening? And that which is aware of this experience, of this listening, that which is aware of this existence, does it have a form or a state? Does it have a location? Can it be localized somewhere? Or it is impossible? that which is aware of this body in this posture and of this meditation, what is really its nature? Where is it? Is it imprisoned in what you call my body? Is it localized somewhere in what you call my body? For example, in the skull or in the chest. Does it really have a beginning or an ending point? Try to see, in inverted commas, the truth, and try not to answer with a mental way based on what you have heard before or what you have studied, but rather try to see the naked truth without a mental gossiping. It is like seeing inside you, seeing with naked awareness. I am awareness, but how can I see myself as awareness? Is it possible? Me, awareness, do I have a form or a shape? I must see the truth. I must not remember what I have heard of or what I have studied about awareness, but rather to see for myself, me, awareness, what I am, what am I? Am I really imprisoned in this body that I call my body? Am I imprisoned even in this planet or in this apparent universe? Can I be somewhere imprisoned? I am here and now. I'm listening. I know that I exist. But am I really a human being? Am I an individual being? Separate from other so-called beings? Or rather, I'm beingness itself, unique, and only one. Where are any limitations for me? Do I change? Or rather, I am always constantly an unchanging, unmodified principle? Do I have an age? Do I have a birth? Or rather, I am unborn? But please, don't try to remember what you have listened before, what you have studied in books, what any guru told you. Just have the courage to see your own self. Seeing with naked awareness is the secret. Who am I? Am I this gross body, this physical so-called body? Am I located in this fleshy thing that I call mind or brain? The limitations for myself really exist? Am I limited in this skull, in this fleshy brain? Am I limited in this planet, in this universe? Can I find somewhere a beginning or an ending point? Where is this person that I believe that I am? Why I cannot find anywhere this person? How do I feel if I do not think? Is there any problem at all? Keep your eyes closed and start moving your body a little bit. Become aware of this movement. Become conscious of this movement. But keep your eyes closed. Now very slowly open your eyes, look in front of you without movement, and try to identify, to localize what is looking, what is aware of this looking in front of you. Try to see if you can localize what is looking. Is it really behind your nose or behind the eyes? Is it really localized inside the skull? You can even ask yourself, am I really inside what I call my skull? Am I really somewhere? Okay, who would like to close our satsang for today in a traditional way?
Oh Shanti, Antariksham Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Yapa Shanti, Oshadhaya Shanti, Vanaspataya Shanti, Vishvedevaha Shanti, Brahma Shanti, Sarvam Shanti, Shantireva Shanti, Kama Shantiredhi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Harihi Om.